Some decisions don't feel like mistakes. They don't look dangerous. They don't raise alarms. In fact, they feel completely right. Logical, calculated, even smart. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. Because by the time you realize what you've done, it's already too late. Billions gone. Reputations destroyed. And sometimes, there's no coming back at all. Today, you're about to see 3 decisions made by people at the top of the world. 1 ignored the future. 1 lost control. And 1 crossed a line that should never be crossed. And the last one doesn't end in failure. It ends in prison. This isn't a story about bad decisions. It's about something worse, because none of them thought they were wrong. At every step, everything made sense. The data supported it. The logic justified it. The confidence was absolute. And that's what makes this dangerous, because the biggest mistakes don't feel like mistakes. They feel like progress, until something shifts. Quietly, almost invisibly. And when reality finally catches up, there's no way to undo it. And it always starts the same way. Small, almost insignificant. A decision that no one questions. In the early 2000s, Microsoft wasn't just winning, it had already won. Windows dominated the world. Every office, every home, every system. The computer was the center of everything. And Bill Gates knew it, because he helped build it. So when something new started to appear, it didn't look threatening. Small devices, limited, clunky, almost irrelevant. Phones trying to act like computers. And internally, the decision made perfect sense. Why rush? Why disrupt something that already works? Why abandon dominance for uncertainty? So they waited. And that decision felt smart, calculated, safe. But outside, something was already changing. Developers were experimenting. Users were adapting. Technology was shifting away from the desk into people's hands. And then, 2007. Everything changed. The iPhone wasn't just a phone. It was a signal, a shift, a new center of gravity. And suddenly, the future wasn't where Microsoft was. It was somewhere else. They reacted. They invested. They built. But something had already been lost. Not the technology, not the money. Something worse. Momentum. Because once people move, they don't come back easily. And by the time Microsoft realized it, the ecosystem was gone. The users were gone, and billions followed. And here's the uncomfortable part. At the time, waiting was the right decision. Or at least, it felt like it. But the next story is different. Because this time, it wasn't about missing the future. It was about refusing to slow down. While one company was losing momentum, another was exploding. Uber wasn't growing, it was taking over. City after city, market after market. And at the center of it all was Travis Kalanick. Relentless, aggressive, unstoppable. And that's exactly what made it work. Because in the beginning, speed solved everything. Move faster, push harder, win first. But growth like that comes with a cost. Inside the company, pressure was building. Conflicts, complaints, cracks starting to form. And at that moment, he had a choice. Slow down, fix the problems, regain control, or keep going. Faster, harder, no matter what. So he made a decision, not to fix the system, not to correct the culture, but to outrun the problems. And for a while, it worked. The company kept growing. The numbers kept rising. Everything looked unstoppable. Until it wasn't. Because problems don't disappear. They accumulate. And eventually, they turn. Not against the company, against the person in control. And when that happened, everything changed. The investors turned. And just like that, he lost control. And then, the pressure became public. What was happening inside was no longer hidden. Stories started to surface. Conflicts, complaints, decisions that had been ignored for too long. And suddenly, it wasn't about growth anymore. It was about damage. Because the same speed that built the company had also built the problem. And now, there was no way to outrun it. The board stepped in. The investors made their move, and the decision was no longer his. He didn't lose the company overnight, but he lost control. And in the end, he was forced out of the company he built. Uber survived. It kept growing. It adapted, but without him. And that's what makes this different. Because the company didn't collapse. He did. Ignoring the future can cost billions. Losing control can cost everything you built. But the next decision goes further. Because this time, it's not about being wrong. It's about knowing and choosing anyway. Elizabeth Holmes had a vision, a powerful one, a single drop of blood, hundreds of tests, faster, cheaper, revolutionary. It sounded impossible, but that's what made it exciting. Because if it worked, it would change everything. And people believed her, investors, executives, leaders, billions of dollars flowed in, and she became something rare, untouchable, a symbol of the future. But behind the scenes, something wasn't right. The technology didn't work. Not consistently, not reliably. Sometimes, not at all. And that's the moment. Everything changes. Because from here, this is no longer a mistake. This becomes a decision. Stop. Admit it. Walk away, or hide it. Fix it later. Buy time. Protect the illusion, and she chose to hide it. And for a while, it worked. The image stayed intact. The story stayed alive. The money kept coming. But pressure builds, and truth has a way of surfacing, slowly. Then all at once, questions started appearing, then doubts, then investigations. And suddenly, everything began to collapse. The data failed. The results didn't match. The narrative broke, and the illusion disappeared. And in that moment, there was no pivot, no recovery, no second chance. Because this time, it wasn't a bad decision. It was a lie. And lies have consequences. In the end, there was only one outcome. Guilty. 3 decisions: ignore, lose control, lie. Different paths, different people, same outcome, irreversible consequences. And here's what matters. None of them thought they were wrong. Every step made sense. Every decision felt justified at the time. So now the real question is, what would you have done? Would you have seen it? Would you have stopped? Or would it have felt exactly the same? Because the most dangerous decisions don't feel dangerous. They feel right. And if you think this was extreme, there's another case, even more disturbing. And most people, though, have never heard of it. Thanks for watching Curiosity Dose. The world is full of mysteries, hidden discoveries, and unbelievable truths waiting to be uncovered. If you love curiosity, knowledge, and the unexplained, you're in the right place. Stay curious, and don't miss your next curiosity dose.